I do want to speak about our complaints against the so-called Independent Police Complaints Commission. From the very outset, the investigation was not treated as a criminal investigation. If somebody dies in police custody whilst in the hands of the police, surely that's enough evidence for them to be interviewed as suspects under a criminal investigation. If somebody dies in their hands, Sean was fit and healthy, no drugs, no alcohol. He was very fit and healthy. Why should he die whilst in the hands of the police in a very short space of time? And why can't the IPCC see that? We just want them to be fair.
The IPCC, they're investigating the circumstances around Sean's death. You know, as far as I'm concerned, they work with the police.
Now the IPCC, we asked them what injuries did he have on him. Before we were not allowed to identify Sean. We were told that Sean has been sealed off in a body bag and we cannot identify him. Now the next morning when we went to identify brother, we were distraught. He was behind, thick, locked, padlocked, with a polocosset glass in a room, padlocked. It was terrible to see. Yes, we saw a scratch on his cheek, all right, from that side of the glass. But one of my brothers felt within, we need to go inside and see the other side of him. For some reason, my brother had an urge. He said, we need to go inside. He told them, you better unlock this, unlock that. The two IPCC FLOs were there. Eventually, they asked us, are we sure, are we sure? They were being obstructed. They did not want us to go in there and find what we found. Because when they eventually took the pole out and unpadlocked it and opened it, and when we eventually squeezed to get around Sean, which was so distressing, we found wounds here on his head, wounds on his head, and we went ballistic. My brothers went mad. They said, what is that on his head? We were told he had a scratch on his cheek. They wanted us to see the scratch on his cheek, but they didn't want us to see the rest. Why the IPCC doing this?
We want to get to the bottom of how Sean died, and we want them to look at every single angle possible. You know, we don't want them to leave any stone unturned. We want them to know how much we love Sean and care for him, that he, you know, that he has a family behind him, and it's as if Sean was actually alive and speaking for himself, because this is how Sean was. He stood up for himself, and we know that Sean would want us to get to the bottom of what happened to him.
Sean was not formally identified by his family. They wouldn't allow us to see him. We were going to Brixton Police Station. We were going everywhere we could, trying to get answers. A police doctor came and looked at him and went back to his office to write his notes, stating that Sean was alive, but he was unresponsive. About 5 minutes after that, the police were heard shouting, "Defibrillator." They called for a defibrillator. By the time the defibrillator arrived, Sean was dead. He was not breathing. There wasn't even a heart with him. Okay? Now these are the things that we have found out in the last 8 months. We're disturbed by it. We're distraught by it. But the IPCC, who are investigating my brother's death, seem completely unconcerned. Completely unconcerned. And we need to be on the street marching, lobbying the government, every single thing possible to bring about change.
Support that we've been receiving since setting up the campaign has been really good. Also, you know, we've met lots of families that have been through what we've been through, and they've been amazing. They've been really an amazing support. Just they totally understand what it is to go through what we're going through. The first thing that I've learned is that you have to be persistent. You know. I've also learned that the police can be extremely violent. You know, there's some criminals among the police, and because they wear that badge and they have this authority, you know, they can hide behind that. So, you know, we really believe that they should be treated, you know, the same, especially when there's suspicion around their conduct and their behaviour. They should be treated the same as us. The love of my brother is what motivates me to keep going. I just have a quest for truth, and I just have to get to the bottom of this. I don't want them to get away with, you know, with murder.